Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Rao. I wanted to present a talk on thought and awareness. Most of the time, we are lost in thought, right? So we kind of be there in thought, but awareness is our fundamental home. And so knowing where we are, whether we are immersed in the thought made by us or the awareness that is natural for us. That is a sky like, and the thoughts are like a clouds. Okay, so we'll explore that and then see the consequences of being in thought constantly and being in stillness and then using the thoughts regularly. That's what we're going to do. Okay, so as we go into more into these definitions and really finding out how we are, that's important. See, human suffering does not come from thought itself. It comes from mistaking thought for who we are. We are not the thought, but the thoughts happen to us, right? So we are aware. So this simple confusion, believing we are our thoughts rather than the awareness observing them, observing the thoughts, that creates unnecessary tension, anxiety, and disconnection from our natural state of peace. Understanding this distinction opens the door to genuine well-being. Okay, so that's my intention to present to you. So what is thought? Memory of the past, thoughts drawn from our accumulated experiences, replaying events and emotions we have already lived through. That is the memory of the past, or projection into the future. The mind creates scenarios of what might happen, planning and anticipating possibilities that don't yet exist. And we do the analyze and judgment, thought categories, comparisons, and evaluations. They constantly measuring our experience against mental standards. We have some standards, we want to make everything according to that, analyze the data and judge the data. And thought a problem solving tool. You see, at its core, thought is designed to identify challenges and construct solutions using logic and reasoning, right? So thought is a powerful instrument for navigating the practical world. It helps us to function, plan, and accomplish tasks. The difficulty arises when we lose awareness of its limitations. Lose awareness of its limitations. That is the difficulty, right? Otherwise, a great tool, right? And we could use that very much. Begin awareness using the thought is what I always advocate, and a lot of people don't understand. See, the core insight is that human suffering we're talking about, we define what is thought. And when thought creates suffering, because we mistake thoughts as ours, they're always hold based on memory. And thought can only work with what has already happened. It constantly references the past, making it impossible for thinking alone to encounter the fresh, living present moment. Right? Thought cannot really encounter the present moment. We miss what is actually here because we are lost in what was. And also, it creates anxiety through anticipation. When we live in thought, we project ourselves into imagined futures, rehearsing conversations, worrying about outcomes, replaying possible scenarios. All this will go on like a chess game. This travel, mental time travel, really produces tension in body that exists only now. Body exists only now, but then it produces tension because mentally we are traveling somewhere. So thought divides life into good and bad. thought separates experience into categories: desirable and non-desirable, success and failure, right and wrong, the duality, right? This constant judgment fragments our inner peace and creates resistance to life as it unfolds. So thought cannot bring lasting peace because thought is movement, always seeking, comparing, and becoming. It cannot deliver the stillness we long for. Trying to think our way to peace is like searching for silence by making noise. These limitations are particularly relevant for those experiencing burnout, chronic worry, or a persistent sense of unease. Recognizing thoughts' boundaries is the first step toward freedom. Okay? So that is what the thought does with the suffering. Okay, now it stays in the present, always moving, right? Simply remember that. So the moment you know the value of planning and value of thinking, that reflects in planning and organization and learning and communication, language education, and all that, and technical professional work, and from engineering to medicine to business, skilled thinking solves problems and creates innovations that improve our lives. Daily functioning, simple tasks, navigating traffic, preparing meals, managing finances, all rely on thought's practical intelligence. So productive, proactive wellness, PAW, which I say, it does not reject or diminish the importance of thought. We recognize it as essential for living effectively in the modern world. That is there. So don't mistake on that. Okay. Then, as I said, thought creates that. But what is awareness then? See, awareness is already present. You don't have to bring in the another faculty like thought. It's already there. We are aware, right? And then we are effortlessly alert, right? It's like a consciously you're aware because you don't have to make an effort for that. Okay, you don't have to make a this thing. Okay, and then silent and spacious. It is also it's a capacity to notice. Awareness is what always allows you to observe your thoughts, emotions, and sensations without becoming entangled in them. Say present moment knowing, unlike thought, which references past and failure, awareness exists only in the eternal now, fresh, immediate, alive. And it is silent, effortless, and alert. Awareness doesn't try, strain, or seek. It simply is quietly attentive without effort or agenda. Okay, choiceless awareness. That's the term used by Jiddu Krishnamurti. I love that very much. Okay, so you're already here before thought because you are aware of the thoughts happening, thoughts bothering, thoughts going away, all that, right? You are always aware before you think about being aware. This presence is your natural state, not something to achieve. It's already there. Choiceless awareness, right? So you always think about that. Okay. So the gifts of living is something that you want to understand. And living in awareness has several gifts. First of all, calmness without any suppression. There's nothing to suppress in awareness. Okay. It's a thoughtless state. It has clarity without effort. And it has a better response, less reaction. That is the important thing. The reactive state aggravates the emotional state, aggravates the hormones, have affect our health. This inner stability, even though outer there is so much change, awareness provides an unshakable center. External circumstance may shift, but the quality of presence remains constant or reliable. So awareness is not passive or detached. It brings engaged aliveness and appropriate action without the burden of self-centered anxiety. Okay? You don't feel like, oh, is it going to be success or not and all that, right? So that's something that you want to understand. Okay. Now, the two ways of being is either you're lost in thought, which most of us are most of the time, or you are living in the present moment awareness. See, mental chatter, an endless internal dialogue, see, enter this mental chatter, that is endless internal dialogue, narrates, comments, judges, rarely quiet, rarely still. Okay. Whereas awareness is quietly alert. The mind is spacious and clear, thoughts may come, but they don't dominate or disturb you. And then in mental chatter, you have this restlessness, obviously. And then awareness is ease in action. There are emotional swings in thought. Emotional balance is a hallmark of the awareness. Fatigue can happen without physical cause, right? Whereas energy is conserved in awareness. Okay, these are all various benefits of this one. Okay. Okay. So what you do is whenever you have this, uh, the practice is you want to keep on noticing the difference. Pause and ask, am I caught in thought or am I aware of thinking? Observe. Don't judge or try to change anything. Simply see the difference between being lost in thought and being present. And return back to awareness be your home. So when you pause and ask the question and observe what is what, then you become home where awareness is there. This is about achieving a special state or eliminating thoughts. It's about recognizing what you already are, the spacious awareness in which all experience appears and disappears. Okay? So when we live from the awareness rather than from thought alone, we access the intelligence that is deeper, wiser, and more responsive to life's actual needs. Remember, I always talk about awakening the intelligence. Okay? We find awakening means it's already there. We just have to be aware and awaken it. Okay. We find the peace we have been seeking, not in the future, not through effort, but here, now, in the simplicity of present moment knowing, which is choiceless awareness. Okay. So once you really know that, then you will go to the next one. Okay. So how do you come in home to yourself is awareness is not something you need to develop or attain. It's what you are when you stop pretending to be your thoughts. That's the important thing. When you stop pretending that you are the thoughts, use thought wisely. Let it serve practical purposes without mistaking it for the whole of you, who you are. Rest in awareness. Return again and again to the quiet presence that's always here beneath the noise. Live with clarity. Meet each moment with the freshness of awareness rather than the burden of accumulated thinking. So, journey from suffering to peace is shorter than you imagine. It's simply the recognition that you have never been your thoughts. You've always been the awareness watching them arise, and welcome home. Okay, so that is the essence of being in thought, being in awareness. Okay, we will do a much deeper version of this later. This is just I wanted to initiate a talk and present it on the Zoom with all the other channels are picking it up. Okay, now we will stop it here and we'll come back to that later. Okay.